please?
Julie, that was my understanding. I missed that board meeting unfortunately for travel, but
Okay.
that was what I had read as well. That's what
Okay.
I thought.
So then that would be current. So, all right, I'm moving on. I'm just doing this so I can stay kind of in a flow here for you guys, and then I'll take a bunch of questions at the end if you would like. So I want to have a little bit of a tough discussion with you, and the reason why I call it a tough discussion is because we haven't had this conversation since 1987. So those of you who have not been around here very long, I have only been here for 12 years, and I look at a few people around here that have actually been here a long time. They actually haven't had a dues discussion since 1987. So we've been on the dues that we are today, and I think all of you know it's $75 no matter who you are and how you join, and we drop it to 50% of that on July 1st. And we do that, of course, to continue adding members throughout the year, even though they don't get a full year of benefit of what their dues buy them. So we started taking a look at that this year, and we took it around a lot of different things. And I'll talk about them a little bit at the end. I just wanted to go through a few little discussion points with you. So that's the CPI index lift, that's the inflation cost, and that's the inflation cost from 1950, which we don't really want to pay attention to. We just kind of want to look at it from like late 80s all the way up to 2010. So we're a little behind the times.
So it's my
paycheck. Want to look at the
paycheck.
cost of a gallon of gasoline. So in 1987 it was 95 cents a gallon, and it's now increased to $3.99 a gallon. And it's just had a linear growth since then. Case of beer, which I think everyone here understands.
Now you're talking someone.
I think you'll start to see where I'm heading with this, right? All right, a case of beer.
Not if Lee gets it for us.
What's the deal? Greg, think about the change in gold rush from back in 1987, right? So it's gone from $9.40 and it's almost $20 today for a case of beers. So, in general, overall, Grapevine Sailing Club expenses as a club. We are expensive to run every year. I know you guys think that we can do it very easy and we can make $75 go a long way. I think you can see we make $75 go a really long way. So over the years we've had a little bit of an increase. The 2010 budget either did a fantastic job or didn't do a whole lot. I was out of town I think for that year, so I'm not really sure. But I will tell you that for the most part we've had a fairly linear increase in dues over time.
Are those years got to be rotated?
They got to be rotated?
Well, go back.
Okay, I think I can, hold on. And again, if this is a question, I'd prefer you hold it to the end and let us kind of cruise with this. If it's not, I'll let you take a look at it. Rotate that. It probably starts in 2007, pretty low, 49, and it moves up to 2012.
Exactly.
Okay, okay. And then I wanted you to see the dues increase. Yeah, that's where we've been, 75, pretty much across flat there.
Are you
No
applying
linear
something?
increase. We've been pretty much at $75. All right, but I'm not going to look at it, and we're not looking at it in a vacuum. I want to let you guys know that the club has done well. It's not a question that we're sitting there and saying that you guys don't join and spend a lot of money and our goddess don't make money and any of that kind of thing. That's not what we're talking about. We do actually have an increase in income over years, and we do have a percentage change that changes as well. So some years we have an increase in income. So we have a 25% increase or 26%. Some years we actually have a fairly big decline in income. That's an 11% decline in income. Next year again, nice 25% increase. The next year we had a 3% decline in income. So pretty much like I think a lot of us know out there, income changes over time and it's not always guaranteed. Income kind of does what it does. But when you look at expenses and you look at that over time, hopefully I didn't go backwards or maybe I put that in twice. You've got a pretty big increase in dues. As I said, 2010 was a little bit of an anomaly, but you had a 20% increase in expense, a 17% increase in expense, an 18% increase in expense, and almost a 9% increase in expense over time. So, needless to say, your board's been doing a pretty good job, or should I say all of your boards have been doing a pretty good job over time. From 2007 to 2011, we've actually started losing money on the membership. So, where we used to make pretty good money, we're actually taking in income on membership. We've actually started losing money on the membership costs of being in the club. Regattas, over time, have started losing money. I remember when I came my first year, we had 80 boats at Gold Rush. We made a lot of money. We made money at Gold Rush because we had boats on the line. It wasn't about selling dinners, it wasn't about selling t-shirts or raffles. We actually made money because we had a lot of boats participating. That hasn't happened. It's not anything about the people, it's just about the economy. It's about small boats, people wanting to move their boats, people aging over time, and boats really not moving as much as they have. That's kind of changing. We got a little bit of a different sport boat fleet nowadays, so we're starting to see it pick up a little bit. Fleets like the mutineers are traveling and that kind of thing. But overall, our regattas really have not been performing. This used to be a really big money maker for the club. So 80 boats made a lot of money. I want to say we made about $10,000 on regattas in a year, my first few years on the board. Club meetings. One of my near and dears, I did this for 2 years. They don't make any money. We just give away stuff. So for the last couple years, we actually gave you dinner every year. And this year, because of our budget, we decided we'd go back to the potluck format, and it's gone fairly well. And I think you guys will see why. So we decided that it was an area of the budget we did not necessarily want to increase the expense. And we wanted to try and contain that a little bit, and we have not. We've done that to a lower extent this year, really just providing drinks. The banquet, another near and dear for those who've done second rear. It is definitely not a moneymaker for the club. It is also one of the best attended events of the club. It's also a huge thing that everybody likes to do. We've tried to hold it very constant for everybody and charge $45 a person. It's about $100 a person event every year. So the club made a commitment a long, long time ago that we would do that, and that's why that has an expense line item and a loss. Calypso, as you can only imagine, doesn't make us any money. It is also an expense, but not a big one. The percentages look really big, but it's fairly small overall. But it does cost us money. Sail Away. I can't go away without talking about it. Sail Away does produce a lot of income, and thank God it does. I thought about taking it out and just showing you the real club stuff, but that's not fair. Just like GM has to make that really non-performing Volt, we have to find a way to help us move in, try new things, do new things, and keep members in the club happy. Sail Away was a program that strangely allowed us to do that. We didn't expect it. You can see the first 2 years. We didn't really think it was going to catch on. We didn't think it would be huge or be a great program, but it was. And it's turned out to be really, really a great entree and a very cost-effective entree into sailing. You can see the income goes up over time. You can see it went way up in 2011. That was a dues increase change right there. But you can also see the trend go up on expense, and a lot of that's because of the slip fees. And you can see the decline in revenue over years because, again, we're holding the membership number constant, but the expense is going up. So in detail, and I'll show this or share it with anybody who wants to see it, look at the income change numbers on Sail Away. And that's income less expenses. So we do certainly have a change in the money-makingness of Sail Away. So I know you guys think that we're just going to keep slapping on those Sail Away people. I'm trying not to do that. We're trying to make this fair and make everybody understand. There's a whole lot of liability to this program for the club. We put people out on boats that really belong to the club, and we've got to do a good job and make it right. I wish I could put a cooler of beer on there every time you got on it. I wish I could have all new rigging and stuff like that, but I can't. But I'm going to do the best that I can to keep the program going and make a commitment, because we are asking for a dues increase, that we'll do a better job of what we've done, and we'll do a better job of taking care of those boats. All right. So in general, we have a lot of potential or planned expenses. We've got the potential of a major Calypso repair. I could go back to that slide and show you. Calypso's not a moneymaker, and we've only spent about $2,000 a year on it since we got it. We had 1 year in there, I think we had a motor repair that was fairly expensive, but for the most part, we haven't had any major expense related to Calypso. It's getting kind of old. Sometimes there will be some kind of expense or replacement need for that boat, and we need to be ready for it. Fuel for Calypso, you saw that CPI thing. It is going up. It was certainly not over $4 last year when we started filling the boat up. Increased costs for items or events, because we have a tough time getting volunteers. So for those of you who don't know, sometimes we have things delivered that we didn't used to have delivered because we don't have volunteers to go pick it up. And sometimes we actually have to actually have some people come do things, like clean the carpet for us, because we don't have people that are willing to run one of those nice little machines in here and clean the carpet. So that's a little bit of an additional expense. Just in general, market market inflation. How many of you guys noticed what the Fed did this week? They started printing more money, and that's going to drive up a bunch of expense that you don't think about, but wait till you see how much bread costs and that case of beer thing and stuff like that. So that's probably planning on happening. Beyond that, we want to do some better things. We got a lot of members in the club. Potentially we don't have all racers in the club, we've got cruisers in the club. We have people that just want to come to the social events, we have people that want to learn stuff. We need to be committing to that and being just as diligent in taking care of those members that potentially we haven't done in the last few years. So we want to continue the education theme that we started this year. We want to continue at least 1 or 2 clinics a month. We want to kind of take them up a notch. We're looking at a bareboat clinic later this year. How can you bareboat? How can you get a group together to do that? Various different things like that. And then we want to put on some classes like a North U event and stuff like that that can bring other people from around the Metroplex in. Again, show that we're focused on putting together some good programs. And then in general, an improved website. So you guys don't really probably use it much. Go out, check the calendar, sign up for a regatta, that kind of thing. How many of you guys actually have tried to access it on your phone? It's a little hard to do. If you haven't done it, it's really, really hard to do. How many of you guys are in our Facebook group? Not the site, but the group. If you're not on the page, there's about 300 people in our Facebook group. If you're not in it, you need to be in it. It is a phenomenal means for information transfer. Photos were up within 20 minutes Saturday of the regatta ending. We had pictures up, we had race scores up, we have QR codes, we got all kinds of cool stuff happening, and we don't have a way to deliver them through the website. We don't have a way to do various different things that combine and make it a good site for you guys. And we want to do that. We want to take it to a WordPress site so we don't have to employ Glenn as a volunteer 17, 18 times a week. Those of you on the board know what I'm talking about when you send an email saying, Glenn, could you update this? Could you change this? Change the cover page, blah, blah, blah. We want to be able to do it ourselves as board members because we write the articles, we might as well write them and put them up there ourselves. So a WordPress site will allow us to do that. We've got some pretty low expense people that are willing to do that for us. Again, looking to save money, but it does cost money to do that. We're concerned a little bit about revenue. So there could be a reduction in membership. So as you guys saw, we're already not making money as membership goes. And if we have any kind of reduction in membership, there's a potential there that we're going to have any kind of decline in that revenue. We have a dwindling potential regatta or series. So if for any reason our regattas start underperforming again, it could be losing more money. And then we have undependable seminar or sail away revenue. So for those of you guys who've been here a few years, you know about 5 years ago, I think we had about 79 to 85 people in the seminar. And those people were here at the seminar and making a lot of money for us. It's a great money maker for the club. It used to be the biggest that we had. Sail away has now taken over and become the biggest money maker. But our numbers this year dropped down to in the 40s. It's a pretty big decline. That's about half of what it was before. So that was a pretty big adjustment for us as a board on our budget. We lost a huge amount of revenue for this year, and we've had to manage around that, trying to keep expenses low to cover for that. It could happen. They went up on the seminar fees a couple of years ago. The economy potentially is going to get a little worse. It could be something that we got to be a little bit concerned about. So, all that being said, we are looking at a proposed dues change this year in the structure of the membership. So the structure we're looking at is going to an individual and family membership, and going to an individual membership with a $25 increase, which takes it from $75 to the economy potentially is going to get a little worse. It could be something that we got to be a little bit concerned about. So, all that being said, we are looking at a proposed dues change this year in the structure of the membership. So the structure we're looking at is going to an individual and family membership, and going to an individual membership with a $25 increase, which takes it from $75 to $100. Currently, all families can sign up under $75, so it doesn't matter if you have 1 kid, a spouse, or 25 kids. It's still $75 a year for you to join the club. You can have 21-year-old kids and come in and drink as much beer as you want, every one of those kids, and it's still $75 a year for you to join. What we'd like to do is take that to a family membership at $135, and that would be a couple or a family member, whether you have 1 child, 2 children, it doesn't matter on the number of children, but we would move to a family. We're going to hold initiation fees and then the 1/2 of dues at the July 1st date, still the same. There's going to be no change in the structure of the dues program, just the structure of how we're going to go ahead and set up the dues and then how we're going to calculate them versus single versus family.